All right, what up, Who That Nation? This is No Cap, No Filter Saints. I'm your host, Marley G, and today we have a very, very special guest, man. I got my boy, Jono, Mr. This Shit More Than a Game, Barnes on the show, man. How you feeling, Jono?
I mean, besides the Saints, I feel good, man. We in the holiday season. We got Thanksgiving next week. I'm feeling thankful, right? Every day above ground is a day to be thankful. So besides the Saints, I'm in a good mood.
Well, Mickey Loomis gave you Dennis Allen. You ain't thankful for him?
I'm thankful for Kamara. I'm thankful for Cam Jordan. I'm thankful for people like them. I don't know if I'm thankful for Loomis and Gail right now for putting us through this BS, but
it's crazy, man. Like a few years ago, we used to have a division locked up, you know, just running away with the division title around this time. But here we are.
And you know what's crazy, though? You know what's crazy? Like, we had the division locked up when it was actually competitive, right? Like, imagine if Sean Payton and Drew Brees had this easy-ass division right now in this schedule and the injury luck that we had before Sunday up until this point. Man, we might be 8-2, 9-1. Shoot.
With a competent head coach, just a competent head coach, period, I believe will be much better. But
I agree.
Let's go ahead on and give a little background story on you. You know, most of the people who are watching this, I'm sure they already know. But for those who don't know, let's just give a little background story. When did you first become a Saints fan, and how did you become so passionate in this franchise?
Well, I was born and raised in New Orleans, so I feel like, you know, you cannot not be from New Orleans unless you're just trying to be like, you know, against the grain and not be a Saints fan, right? And I'll be honest, I'll peel the curtain a little bit. Like when I was a little kid, for some reason, I just had this thing in me where I was like, well, everybody's cheering for the Saints, so I want to be different. I want to be special. So I claimed that I was a 49ers fan for, this is like 5, 6, 7 years old. Like, you know, when I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but I'm like, oh, go 49ers. I'm just trying to be different. But once, you know, my mental got together, once, you know, my balls dropped, if you want to say it that way, man, I was a Saints fan for my life, man. And the passion, you can't buy it, man. This team embodies the city, and I feel like the city embodies the team, man. We're not a big city, right? We're not New York. We're not California. We only have so many things to really champion. And even though the Saints growing up weren't a team that was, you know, dominant like the 49ers or anything like that, they were ours. And you just couldn't help but feel that camaraderie and that spirit and that energy whenever they played. So ever since I was, you know, old enough to like really know what the team was and what it meant to the city and what city I was, you know, living my life in, it's been pedal to the metal since then. And I've been a diehard from, I don't want to say day one, because I had that little period where I was just being silly and acting like I was a 49ers fan, but I will say day one, because like when I got to like the point where I actually knew what was going on, like when I could follow the team, when I knew the players and whatnot, man, I was one of the biggest and most rabid fans you could find.
Yeah, man, that's crazy because the whole 49ers thing you just spoke on, that's Twitter in a nutshell. Everybody wants to be a contrarian.
Yeah, you know, as a little kid, again, I don't know why as a little kid it was in me, but once like I said, you know, got past that phase, you know, as kids, you don't know what you're doing. I say, no, man, I'm a Who Dat fan. Hell with that. And that was like right during the Billy Joel days. So, you know, I earned my stripes too. It ain't like I just was like, oh, now the Saints are good, so let me act like it's something that is, even if you try to deny it, even if you try to be a contrarian, you know, it's hard to avoid what this team means to the city.
Okay, so a lot of people know you from your skits. You know, what skit would you say took you to the next level that just went viral?
I want to say, honestly, and I got real lucky, I guess. It was one of the first skits I did. I think it was the second skit. It was like really when I had first started doing content, and I did one after the 2021 draft, and I kind of was making fun of how, you know, fans have all these wild range of reactions about players that we don't even know, right? Like, oh, we drafted this quarterback in the 5th round, and fans are mad. And it's like, you guys never even watched game film on this thing, right? So I actually used like the reactions that I was seeing for Saints Twitter, and I made a skit like where I just did a compilation of like all of the wide range of emotions that fans go through during the draft. And this is when I only had maybe 500, 600 followers. So I wasn't like a known commodity at that point. So I had to like at some of the bigger profiles and prominent figures on Saints Twitter, hoping that they shared it to kind of get my reach out there. And a few were very kind to me and did. And then it just like the numbers went crazy. And I was like, oh, And then suddenly, like, I went to sleep with 600 followers. I wake up with over 1,000, and I'm like, wow, I have something going with this. And it was one of the best feelings ever in the world, to be honest, of my life, because I was like, oh, it was almost like verification that what I was doing, or the belief that I had that I could do something special like this, was worthy of continuing to do.
So if you wasn't doing Saints content, what would you be doing?
The funny thing is, like when I first decided to do content, it was 2021, so it was during the pandemic. It was the middle of the pandemic, and I always felt that I could be a decent content creator. You gotta be a little delusional if you're gonna put yourself out there to feel like you can actually achieve something. And it was a Saturday. I was on my couch. My big brother, cousin, my guardian angel now, he was out doing a rap video. He was an aspiring rapper. And I remember just sitting back like, man, if he's out there, during this pandemic, chasing his dreams, I don't want to come out the pandemic not saying that I actually did something significant or like, took advantage of all the free time that we had as a world. So, and I also just didn't want to like go to sleep every night again, tossing and turning, wondering, hey, if I had actually took the shot at being a content creator, would I have been successful? So I said I'm gonna be a content creator at that point, and it wasn't with the intent to just do like Saints and Pelicans and New Orleans, Louisiana content. I knew I was going to do it because that's my passion, of course. But I bought a vlogging camera, and I was vlogging me at fast food restaurants. I was vlogging me at events. Like I was like, I'm gonna just be a general content creator, throw everything at the wall, see what lands, see what doesn't. Unsurprisingly, because this shit more than a game, the Saints content was one of the first things that really took off, and that was like a blessing because I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about this team. I'm passionate when I say the motto of this shit more than the game. It's not. I didn't say that to make T-shirts to like have a slogan. Like it just came naturally, but that's because it is absolutely an embodiment of the city, which doesn't shock me why my content, especially my Saints content, has taken off. So what would I be doing if I wasn't doing this? I'll be doing the same thing I was doing before the pandemic. And that's just thinking about, well, what would I be doing if I was a content creator? Working my 9 to 5, thinking about all the great things I could do as a content creator. But thank God that I finally took that leap of faith. And here I am now, having the privilege to be interviewed by people like you.
Well, shoot, man, it's always the best route to chase your dreams, even if it don't pan out. Like, because you'll never want to go saying what if. Right. That's how I look at it. But absolutely, I always said, watching a lot of content creators, I said, man, I know I'm a podcaster. I guess you would want to say I just do interviews and I just do my little thoughts in my videos. But as far as content creation, I always said, man, I don't think I could date a woman who's a content creator. So by you having your wife in a lot of your skits, like, what's the percentage that, she's down for doing it at this particular time, or, she's just not kind of into it and you gotta force her to get into it? Like, what's the percentage? Is it 50-50, 60-40?
It's 100% because I make her.
No.
No, I'm joking. No, true. No, I would say 100% though, because she's the real MVP. She's the best, man. She is truly and absolutely the best. She is always down to support whatever goals and dreams I had. And it wasn't even something that I formally asked her. Like, I never actually sat down with her and say, hey, I would like for your participation or assistance in some of these skits. One Sunday, last season, actually, I just gave her the phone and said, hey, I got this idea for a skit. Help me out right quick, where, you're an annoyed wife and I'm kind of playing up to my fanaticism. And that skit went viral, if you want to say that. And then I was like, oh, okay, we got something with this, right? Like, people, not only do some find it funny, some see the relatability in it, right? Like the crazy fanatic versus the annoyed wife. And so once I see that I feel like I got momentum with something, every week now, I just give my wife the phone. Again, not even formally asking her. I say, okay, look, this week we're going to do this. She's never complained. And she doesn't even want to be, Marley, a content creator. She's not trying to be a public figure. She's very much more comfortable behind the scenes. But the fact that she is willing to take that leap of faith to put herself out there in a way to help me and to help build this brand and this series of skits that we do, where like crazy husband versus annoyed wife. It's just the greatest blessing that I can think of. I can't thank her enough, to be honest. And I'm actually grateful that you asked that question, because I love to give her flowers as much as possible, because without her, you know, I obviously cannot play up to that angle of the crazy fanatic versus the annoyed wife. I would have to find other angles to play for Saints comedy, but she just made my content go up to another level once she was very willing to participate with me. So I am forever and always grateful for her.
Okay, so for those who don't know, like, where can they follow you at for all this content?
If you see the name right there, if you watch it on a video, it is Jono Barnes. Literally on every platform, I try to make it as easy as possible. Jono Barnes.
Okay, every platform, ladies and gentlemen, follow the man. All right, so I guess before we get into the current dark state of the Saints, you know, where it's all just doom, let's go ahead on and talk one more little talking point of positivity. Give me your top 2 Saints moments outside the Super Bowl year.
Ooh, taking out the Super Bowl is a hard one, right? Does the NFC Championship count? Because I feel like that's cheating if I count that, because that's kind of like a line.
No moment out the Super Bowl year, period.
Oh, you make it even tougher. You don't know 2009.
Oh, the NFC Championship, like, you know, you talking about against the Rams? Well, I'm talking about like positive moments.
Yeah, no. I was talking about the Vikings. All right, I'm gonna take out 2009 because, you know, that's obviously the easy go-to answers. Yeah. I truly had a blast, my dude, during the 2017 through 2020 stretch. Like, I always say, that might go down as like the greatest stretch of Saints football that we will have got to witness as Saints fans. I didn't take it for granted. Unfortunately, we know what happened in 2018, so it just puts a whole black mark on the whole thing. But man, that run from 2017 to 2020 was fun, man. Like, every game we went into, I felt like we were the better team. Like, we had that good of a team, and it sucks, man. It boils me to the limit every time I think about, like, we have nothing to technically show for it because we got screwed by the referees in the NFL. But that stretch overall from 2017 to 2020 was real fun. So I don't know if that's cheating by giving out a 4-year window by saying that was one of my favorite moments, but that was one of my favorite moments. So I'll put that as my number 1. And number 2, I really enjoyed, man, as unsuccessful as it was, because I guess kind of like where we're at right now, we were just in a circle of purgatory and mediocrity, even though we had the talent. The Aaron Brooks and Joe Horn and Deuce McAllister era was real fun to me, man. Joe Horn was my dog back in the day. Like, I just loved the showmanship in him, the cell phone and all that, the dance and the celebration. I wanted to be Joe Horn so bad, man. So I had a lot of fun during that era, even though it was frustrating as hell, like always coming up short when we had all this talent. But those 2 eras, I would say, are my top 2 moments, if I can include, you know, 2009 and all the great stuff that happened in that special year.
Yeah, my top 2 moments, you just mentioned Joe Horn. Was funny. Like, that's when I became a Saints fan, when I was watching Aaron Brooks, Joe Horn, Deuce, and Jerome, and all those guys.
Yeah, Peyton, man.
Yeah, my top 2 moments would probably have to be when Mike paid homage to Joe with the cell phone. Like,
that was beautiful.
Man, I was just screaming to the top of my lungs.
That was beautiful.
That's probably number 2. And number 1, man, I think I had an out-of-body experience, bro. When Jameis had led that comeback against Atlanta, week 1. Like, it was just so surreal to me, because it was like, man, we in a new era. Sean Payton gone, everybody writing us off, everybody saying we ain't gonna better do without Sean and Drew. And, you know, that moment, beating the Falcons at their house, them screwing up a lead, and Jameis just facilitating that comeback, throwing them passes. Those passes were elite. And then he
looked like the best quarterback in the league in that quarter. I don't know what they gave him in that blue tent, but he came out looking like Superman.
Hey, man, when we win that game and kick that field goal, bro, I just almost damn near broke down to my knees. I was just so proud and so happy.
The future looked so bright after that, huh?
Yeah, everything.
I was at that game. If people check out my YouTube, just search Jono Barnes Falcons on YouTube or something, like, you will see a vlog of me at that game. So I captured everything. And I absolutely agree with you. And it's funny because I was literally about to say, okay, if I actually had to pick a moment, like a specific moment, though, that might be my answer, because I was there with my family, man. Atlanta, for all the shit we give them, they know how to throw a good little vibe in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Like, when they were up big, you know, they were swag surfing. Jermaine Dupri was on the 1s and 2s, like, playing all their hits, man. It was like a club in there. And, you know, we just sitting back like, damn, man, like, our biggest rival whooping our ass in week 1. Then we did that comeback, man, and we took over the stadium, man, and it was a joy. It was an absolute joy. If you are a passionate Saints fan, you just love seeing us dance on the Falcons fans' grave. Search Jono Barnes Falcons on YouTube, and you will see my vlog from that. You can relive it again yourself, Marty, because it was probably sadly going to be the peak of the Dennis Allen era, to be honest.
Yeah, everything went downhill from that. It's almost like we won that game and it cost us everything. It was like,
I know,
it cost us everything.
And you know the sad thing is, I probably still wasn't traded off. I'm like, yeah, I still want that moment.
But I know you still had them. I know you had them same vibes in the Vikings, this past Vikings game.
I mean, unfortunately, obviously, the result wasn't as nice as the you know, Marty, everybody's been on my ass this week because I went to 2 games this year on the road. I like to travel at least to 2 games a year because I have a goal of trying to see all 32 stadiums. So this year I did Houston and Minnesota. Of course, we're 0-2. So I got some people like on my butt saying, well, you got to stop going to the games. And I'm like, y'all don't remember last year, though, when when we beat the Falcons. So I'm not that negative of a presence on the road games. But the Minnesota game was fun for the experience. Wasn't fun for the outcome. Their fans, surprisingly, were pretty cool for the most part. I had one stupid-ass Karen who came at me that you guys, if you also go on my YouTube, would see that that interaction. But altogether, though, Marty, I do enjoy traveling to these road games because it's besides the game itself, which, you know, it's 50-50 whenever you go to a game, if you're going to win or lose. You get to meet people that you never would have met. You get to experience cities that you may have never thought that you even wanted to travel to. And you just enjoy the memories that come with life when you go on road trips like that. So I'm always going to have a good time with any road game that I go to as I go very deep, right? We're supposed to be talking Saints football. Here I am getting all deep and philosophical with you.
Man, I went to the Texans game, and I live in Houston.
So why you didn't hit me up? What's up? What's up?
I don't know, man. I was just like, man, I don't want to be in nobody's face because I just know I was just so pessimistic. I was so pessimistic.
I feel you. My
friend I went with, I was blaming him, saying, man, it's your fault we lost because every time I watch a game with you, we lose. Like, man, I was just
all right, like, well, I'm glad you didn't hit me up because I can imagine like you in a badass mood. Here I come, oh, hey, boy, you know, I'm always the cheerful, goofy guy.
It's crazy because
get the hell out of my face, man. Look how we look on the field and you being all.
Prior to that, I was at a ball with another friend I knew from high school. And I said, man, we're gonna go on a losing streak. We can't be winning like this because we had beat some team. And I was like, man, we can't be winning like this. And then we messed around and lost to the Packers. And I told him, I said, man, I ain't going to no game. I never buy a ticket. And I bought that damn ticket after we went on that maybe a 2-game winning streak. We went to the Texans game, and I was like, man, I knew I should have never went out. And I vowed from that moment never to spend money to go purchase the Dennis Allen-led Saints ticket ever in my life again.
I said the same thing. Then I wound up in Minnesota. How'd that go, huh?
Yeah, but it's crazy. You had mentioned the refs in 2018. It's crazy how people just think that we just cry babies and we just blame nothing on the refs. I mean, we blame everything on the refs, but it's clear data out there that has so much of data that shows that we get flagged more than other teams. And on top of that, it's like people always talk about we blame stuff on the refs. We don't blame stuff on the refs. When we lose, we said we lost. We didn't blame nothing on the refs when we lost with the beast mode, the beast quake. We didn't blame nothing on the refs when we lost to goddamn 49ers. Yeah, when 49ers beat us, we that was the Vernon Davis game. People dubbed that. You know, we don't really blame stuff on the refs every time. If we lose to a team, we'll just say we lost, you know. Even the game where we played the Vikings with Drew Brees and Taysom had that phenomenal game. Like we ain't really put stuff on the refs. So I just think that whole narrative is just
everybody is cool with it until it happens to their team, right? Like imagine you had this wild 2018 season that we had, man, and everything leads up to this moment. Tag catches that incredible pass. We're like, holy shit, it's happening. Like we are about to make this game-winning field goal or touchdown at that point. We didn't know what we were going to do. And go to the Super Bowl. And then you see the most obvious pass interference of all time, and the referees just swaddle their whistle. And at first, I remember, like, in the aftermath, a lot of the opposing fans, besides, like, our rival fans, were, like, on our side, like, yeah, that's atrocity or whatever. And then the next week when we did the parade, which, breaking news, everybody, New Orleans throws parades. Like, that's what we do, y'all. And that's when they started turning, like the tide started turning. Like, oh, now they're taking it too far. And, you know, the lawmakers was like, oh, we want to protest the NFL or whatever. And that's the type of petty that New Orleans is, though. I don't know if people realize that outside our city and state, which is why this shit more than the game. But let me tell you something. Let that happen to any of the other 31 fan bases, and they will be crying just as much. So I hate when they say that, man, because one, it gives the NFL an outlet to, like, get away with it because they're like, ah, shit, eventually all the other fans are going to be like, oh, whatever. You know, you could have scored in the overtime or whatever. Man, who cares about that? They throw that flag. It's I don't want to say guarantee because you never know what Will Lutz at this point, right? But it's an easy-ass field goal, and we're going to Atlanta. It would have been one of the greatest Super Bowls probably of all time with Drew Brees versus Tom Brady, but no, it didn't happen, and yet we're the bad guys for calling the NFL out on it. Man, those opposing fans can kiss our ass.
Well, just like wrestling, man, I think the refs are probably the biggest heel in the game. So
always.
It is what it is.
It almost makes you feel like the NFL is the WWE, right? Like, okay, is this shit scripted? Like, come on now.
Hey, I said it, man. When they gave us our record prediction, I said with this roster, I know they basing it a lot off of Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael, and Derek Carr because that's the trifecta that you need for success. But it's like, man, we even had an easy schedule that's getting even easier along the way because we ain't playing certain quarterbacks. And on top of that, for like the first time in like 4 years, we healthy. So it's like, man, we still gonna finish like 9-8 just as they predicted. It's like you can't make this up. But before we just segue into getting into this Vikings recap, I gotta ask you, man, what is your best team? The 09, the 2011, or the 2018 Saints? Like, who you think will win if they all had to match up against one another?
You know, people always say, and sometimes I wonder, are they just trying to be contrarian about the 2011 being the best team? But they didn't get it done. They didn't get it done the way 2019 did. Now, granted, you need a lot of breaks to go your way, and we got a lot of breaks in 2009. But one thing that I loved about the 2019 was that they got it done. Like, when it mattered, they got it done. I have all the love in the world for the 2011 team. Honestly, on paper, if you look at the talent, maybe you can argue that, yes, 2011 was better than 2009. The 2009 got it done in the critical moments that matter, where 2011 team did not. So I'm always going to put 2009 over 2011. Now, I do think it's an interesting debate about 2018 because I think top to bottom roster, 2018 is a better roster. However, 2018 Drew Brees was not 2009 Drew Brees, and that's the big thing. Now, you put 2009 Drew Brees with that 2018 roster, shit, we might have went 19-0. Like, prime peak Drew Brees, oh my God. But I do think from number 2 to 52, that 2018 roster, man, was really good. Like, you know, Michael Thomas at his peak, I believe, and this is no insult to Colston, but Michael Thomas at his peak, I feel like it's better than Marcus Colston at his peak. Kamara at his peak is better than Reggie Bush at his peak, right? Like, we had some talent on that 2018 team with one of the greatest of all time, man. So I'm still going to go with 2009 because it's always going to come down to the quarterback. And, of course, 2009, Drew Brees was, the best quarterback in the league, in my opinion. It's a shame he didn't win MVP of the regular season that year. But that 2018 team was a dog, man. It was a dog. And unlike 2011 where we lost fair and square, that 2018 team should have a ring to their name, but unfortunately, circumstances are circumstances, and they don't have one. But that 2018 team was special, man. That was a fun year, man. I often wonder, because of how it ended, like, can we ever recapture that type of magic from 2018 again? Because I feel like now fans are always going to be so jilted after what happened in 2018 that even when we do have another special team, it's always going to be in the back of everybody's mind. But yeah, you know, even if we do wind up going far, we got to play the referees, you know, as you just alluded to, as well as the team that we're playing. But that 2018 was great, though. But you got to go with 2009 because of where Drew Brees was at in his career and because they got it all done when it mattered.
Yeah, they definitely were opportunistic on defense on 2009 team, you know, with Sharp and a lot of other guys. But I think that the 2011 team, I think that Drew Brees was even better than the 2009 team. But
True.
Top to bottom roster wise, I think the 2018 team got it. Now it's crazy because this current team we have now, I think this current team roster wise is probably just as better than all of them. It's just it show you how much.
One because Derek Carr's. I know nothing against Derek Carr, but
yeah. Well, I was just about to show you how much head coach and quarterback is important. And
yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But I also I feel like, unfortunately, like, because again, like when you talk about rosters, like, 10 years from now, people are going to be like, oh, they had Cam Jordan on that roster. But this obviously isn't the same Cam Jordan as 2011 Cam Jordan, right? 2018 Cam Jordan. Oh, they got Michael Thomas on that 2023 roster. But this is obviously not the same Michael Thomas from 2018, 2019. So I do think we have a good roster. And I think this roster should have, because we don't know where we're going to finish. But the way we look at it, I don't think we're going to even get to 10 wins. We should have had 10 wins minimum with this roster. But Dennis Allen is Dennis Allen. And unfortunately, everything that critics told us about Derek Carr has come to fruition.
All right, so quick recap. What are your thoughts on the Saints-Vikings game?
It's everything that I expected. I can peel back the curtain. I played as fanatic on my skit saying it's genuine. Like I amplify it a little bit, right, to make it funny. But I'm also not dumb. Like I've got 2 years of data of what a Dennis Allen team is. So I'm not going into these games cocky or being like, oh, we're going to easily win. I believe we should have won. I'm like, okay, God bless Josh Dobbs, but he is a backup for a reason. Technically, he is still third string if you want to count the fact that they were playing the other guy before he got hurt, and then they had to put in Josh Dobbs. Jefferson isn't playing. Their starting running back was out. I'm like, we should win this game. Like the schedule gods and the football gods are giving Dennis Allen every goddamn gift possible. But I went into that game still unsure because it's Dennis Allen, right? I got 2 years of data of what this man is as a head coach and how his teams look. I know when I travel to these games, Marley, like I'm traveling to go see the circus. Like it is what it is. Dennis Allen's teams are a circus. I'm traveling to go see the circus. So I'm not shocked at what happened. I'm not. Any team could beat us. The Cardinals could beat us, and I wouldn't be shocked. I am mad because when I watched this game, I'm like, dude, I would like to think Mickey Loomis is smarter than both of us when it comes to football. So I know you're watching the same games we're watching. So if we can see how unsustainable this brand of football is and how bad and sometimes boring. It was boring until Jameis came in because Derek Carr's just a boring quarterback. If we can see that, Mickey, I know you can see that, man. So don't have the audacity to keep telling fans, oh, we're in a good spot and our foundation is strong and we're still on top of the NFC South and you guys need to calm down. It's a long season. No, we've got enough data to see how bad this team is, man. And it's frustrating as hell that we got to grind our teeth and watch this crap every single week with the penalties, the turnovers, the conservative play calling. 1 week Pete Carmichael was a good play caller. The next week we're back to the same BS. 1 week we're utilizing Taysom. The next he's sitting on the bench, getting cold. Like, what are we doing, man? What is the team's actual foundation, Mickey Loomis? Like, what is our mantra? Like, what is our style of football? I don't know, because every week is something different. It's annoying as hell, man. It's frustrating as hell. But this is the Dennis Allen Saints team. Like, I know what it was. The Saints, if they're good at one thing, they're good at good PR because, like, we saw this bullshit last year, Marley. We saw this last year. So we should be a little bit mad at ourselves for hyping ourselves up. But the Saints are real good at doing enough in free agency. And I'll give Dennis Allen this. He may not be a good head coach, but he's a good recruiter. He's a good free agent manipulator. He can find ways to get our fan base excited. The Saints somehow taught us into Derek Carr when we know damn well in December if somebody would have said, hey, y'all want Derek Carr for 2023, all the fans would have said no. But somehow they got us believing that, oh, Derek Carr's that final piece, and we're going to be a 10-11 win team. Yet here we are with the same bad brand of football that we saw last year. So I'm not shocked that we lost to the Vikings. I'm not going to be shocked if we lose to the goddamn Falcons next week because I have seen enough data to know what the Dennis Allen Saints are.
Yeah, man. I really was hoping that we could see Mickey Loomis 2 first-round picks that were potential draft picks, that we traded up for in Penning and Davenport. But, of course, right on script, Davenport was out due to injury, and Penning, he was benched. So we didn't get to see that. But I felt like we could win this game, but at the same time, I knew in the back of my mind, like, man, they have everything they need to beat us. Like, the matchups are in their favor a lot. They had the mobile quarterback. They had a pass rusher that could wreck a game with Hunter that everybody wanted to trade for. They had a competent head coach. They had a competent defensive coordinator that could make Pete, just dribble up in big moments. Like, they had everything they really needed, not to mention the tight end that just had one of his best games of his career. And
I'm on my fantasy team, so I appreciate that at least.
Yeah, and I'm on record. I'm saying that we're going to lose to the Falcons, and Kyle Pitts is going to have a breakout game.
Huh?
I don't think he had one all season. I think Bijan had a few, but I think Kyle Pitts and Bijan, they're going to go to work. So,
bro, you think Saints Twitter, Saints Facebook, Saints Instagram is bad now, boy? If he loses to the Falcons next week, it's going to get toxic. Toxic.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, right? So right now, like, who do you think is to blame on the offense? Like, if you have to give a percentage-wise, like Derek Carr, the O-line, or the offensive coordinator and the O-line coach?
I think everybody's hands are dirty in this. So I don't think it's just one singular unit or person to blame. I'm an equal opportunist and giving everybody flack. So I think that Carmichael absolutely deserves flack because he doesn't seem to be very good at adjusting to in-game flow from whenever the defenses make their adjustment to his game plans. I think Derek Carr, and I hate to say it because I'm cheering for the guy. I mean, he's wearing my team's colors. I want him to do well, but like you see these plays where guys are getting open, and then you're like, okay, well, then I can't blame Pete too much if I see plays where Olave and Shaheed are throwing their hands up like they Randy Moss, saying, "Dude, throw us the ball," and Carr is just being so conservative, and it's probably because the O-line was bottom 5 the first 2 or 3 weeks. They've gotten back to the middle of the pack now, but now I feel like mentally Derek Carr is just like not trusting his O-line to hold up, so he's being scared to throw the ball, even just to step up in the pocket. So I think everybody's hands are dirty in this, besides guys like Kamara, who's giving it his all, Thomas and the receivers. I mean, Olave's had a up and down year, but then again, Jameis comes in the second half last week, and suddenly Olave looks like the guy that we thought he was going to be. After sundown, honestly, want to say I think Derek Carr's the most to blame because I'm watching these, all 22 film studies, and I'm like, God, that's like actual plays to be made, and he's not making them. I can't get mad at Pete on the O-line when I'm looking at Olave wide the hell open, and Carr's just sitting in the pocket holding the ball like launch it. But it's a week-to-week thing because then the past 2 weeks before the Vikings game, Carr looked actually decent. Like he looked like the quarterback that I thought he was going to be, a middle of the pack quarterback, which is what we needed to hopefully have won the division. But then you see game plans where Carmichael's just doing nothing but throwing caught in vertical routes. And it's like, what the hell are you doing, Pete? Then you have games where the O-line is just getting bum rushed by defensive linemen. And again, I don't know if I can put a percentage on who, because I feel like week to week, everybody's hands is dirty in this mess right now.
Exactly. Yeah, man. I feel like it's definitely number one, Pete Carmichael. I feel like number 2 is the QB play, and I think 3 is the O-line. Like the O-line was real shaky at first, but we took Pennon, and I knew Pennon was going to have a hard time at left tackle. That's why I was lobbying for him to be a right tackle and put Ram to left tackle and Pete at left guard. That's what I wanted because I didn't want it a project left tackle protecting Derek Carr blindside. I wanted him to be right tackle and switch Ram to left tackle. He was an all-pro, and everybody's like, oh, keep him where he's at, where he's comfortable. We see worse with the Bucs. He's having a good year, and he switched, and he was saying he was having anxiety before he had to make the switch. And he's one of the best left tackles in the whole game. And if worse could be, I feel like Ram could do a pretty solid job. I'm not expecting him to have a all-pro season or maybe a Pro Bowl season, but a pretty solid season. Pete Carmichael, I think, Dan on Twitter, he put the top offense in the NFL. All of them have plenty at the snap motion, personnel and formation flexibility, and heavy use of play action. We do none of
that.
And it's like, man, do you think Derek Carr is like Drew Brees, where he could just go through his progressions as fast as Drew Brees, get the ball out quick as Drew Brees, had the same accuracy as Drew Brees? No, you gotta conform to what you have on the field and put them in the best position to succeed. That's what I think the best coaches do. And I don't think we put our players in the best position to succeed. On a year, yes, I know he has been hurt, but this dude, Jawan Johnson, only has 97 receiving yards on a year. We brought in a league touchdown scorer from last year with Jamal Williams. Even though he slimmed down and in New Orleans, he do training camp, I still think he could be producing better.
He got 0 touchdowns, right?
I think he probably got 1. I'm not sure, but if he have 0, I won't be surprised.
I genuinely think he has 0 touchdowns, which is crazy. He led the league in touchdowns, and now he has 0. That's freaking crazy, man. That is an indictment on us.
if that's not coaching, I don't know what is. You know, you got Kendra Miller. A lot of people giving up on him, but I feel like he got something to bring. He just got to stay healthy. You know, Mark Ingram, it took him a while to get going, but yeah, man, I feel like in this offense is very complicated. Like even Emmanuel Sanders said, we have so many variations of our offense. It is real complicated in depth it is, but I just think that Pete Carmichael, he folds in critical situation. He had no situational game plan or pivot, you know, what a defense is doing to him. He has no adjustments. He has no rhyme or reason. He has no creativity. Like, we got one of the best red zone guys is on the bench, and we doing bad in the red zone. We got one of the best play action guys on the bench, and we do good in play action. I mean, we don't do much play action.
We don't do play action.
And I think Carr is good at play action too. So it's like, man, and I ain't gonna lie, Jono. When it comes to Carr, I think he has a lot of bad stuff going on with him, but I do think he really injured himself in that Packers game, and he's just going through it. And I feel like he still has enough to be productive, but I don't think he's nowhere near what he can be. But at the same time, I think he has enough to be productive to get us wins if he's in the right position to succeed. But like you say, with that O-line being bad, I think his clock has sped up.
Yep.
But I think he's playing through injury, just like we played Jameis through injury those last 2 games last year that he should never played in the first place. Just like Sean Payton used to try to troll out Keenan Lewis out there when Keenan Lewis was injured. Just like we played Michael Thomas on the injury. Then at the end of the season, for Drew last season, his wife came out and said he was playing through his ribs and spleen and all. Like, we just have a reputation of playing guys that should never be playing. Like, we could have easily played Jameis, you know, for like 2 games and rest Derek Carr, but no, we had to just. And I think sometimes DA just do that just to have a scapegoat excuse. Like, well, you know, it's like it's a reason why Pete Carmichael is still a head coach. Like, I just think that's his trump card, like his ace in the hole excuse, you know, to get another year. But I digress.
Pete Carmichael is a substitute teacher. You can maybe rely on him to come in a few days, but if he is your guy that you want as the main teacher, it's not going to work out. And we have learned that the past 2 weeks. Now, I will say this on the injury front. I know that players are always usually, especially in football, going to push to play. So I'm sure, you know, it's not just a Saints decision. Like, I'm sure Drew, we know Drew was always like, I'm playing. We know Carl's the type that's going to be like, I'm playing. Sometimes you have to make that hard choice for them to say, yeah, we know that you want to play. We know that you probably could play, but let's just play it safe, you know, sit you out for a week or 2, get you really 100% healthy, and then we're playing a long game here because it's a long 17-game season. But I think we give our players a lot of leeway to make the choice themselves because Demario Davis was on freaking one leg against the Jaguars, and we played him, and I was like, I love Demario, and I'm sure he takes a ton of great pride in like being available, which I appreciate the hell out of him and Cam for always being available every Sunday. But I'm like, we got Jalen Smith for a reason. Like, let's utilize him on a short week. Like, Demario, I love you, dude, but like, you're on one leg out there. Like, you know, let's be like, we got a long season, man. We gotta play the long game sometimes. But player empowerment, I don't know. We like to let these players tell us if they're good enough to play that they can play, but then we get out there and you see Derek Carr with a bad shoulder who's now being affected and limited to what he could probably actually do. You see Demario Davis not looking like the Demario Davis that we're used to. We saw Drew Brees and Michael Thomas in 2020 not be the same Drew Brees and Michael Thomas that we were used to. So it's a little bit of give and take because you obviously want your best players out there, but you got to also make the tough decisions sometimes in a sport that is very brutal. And when you got a quarterback right now with a bad shoulder, I don't think any doctor would say the remedy is to let him keep getting sacked on that shoulder. So hopefully the bye week can make Derek Carr feel a little better, but I just don't see that shoulder getting any better until 2024.
Yeah, because people got to realize this dude went to the hospital after that game or something like that.
Yeah,
he ain't just go get checked out in the locker and it was like, oh, yeah, we just going to rest you for the rest of the game. Like, he went to the hospital. So if he went to the hospital, obviously something going on. And then another thing that really made me feel like is more significant than what they're saying is the fact that the next Bucks game that we had, Alvin Kamara just like broke like a record or something. It was some stupid record that Alvin Kamara broke for like the most catches, you know, to the line of scrimmage or something like that. You know, and it's like, dang, this dude's shoulder must really be just it must really just be broke. It's like, dang, man, Alvin Kamara caught all in reception, and it was like right to the sticks, like right behind the line of scrimmage.
13 catches for 36 yards.
Yeah, so it was like, man, why would y'all even start him? Y'all seen him in practice through this whole week, and y'all still ain't have no confidence in Jameis going to win this game against his.
You know what's funny? We did the same thing with Jameis, like you alluded to earlier last year against the Bucs at home. Like he was clearly hurt. Like he had a freaking broken back. We tried him out against the Bucs. I remember, like I was in the Superdome because I'm a season ticket holder. I was in my seat. It was about 15 minutes before the game, and then Jay Glazer dropped the news, like, oh, by the way, Jameis Winston is dealing with essentially a broken back, but him and the Saints are gonna give it a go. I was like, what? I'm like, this dude got a broken back and we about to play? I knew at that point we were going to lose. I'm like, dude, a quarterback like Jameis who relies on, like, you know, the flow of his upper body because he's a launcher. Of course, we got our ass whooped that game. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And then it hurt Jameis in the long run because now, after that, we bench him, and now he's never seen a field besides whenever the starting quarterback gets hurt again. Like, sometimes, go back to my point, you got to play the long game, man. Help the players help themselves because, of course, every player is going to be like, I'm not trying to lose my job. I'm going out there and playing. But if it's a detriment to you and your career and your team, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Hurt those guys' chances of, you know, getting with a team and having a team believe in them. But I still think that Derek Carr and Jameis Winston can both revive their career and have a Geno Smith type of season with another team if they with the right head coach and right offensive coordinators and the right places, well, the right pieces around them. You know, they just got to have, you know, confidence with themselves and the offensive coordinator, and they just got to know that they're probably just going to be a bridge quarterback. But as long as they can make the best out of being a bridge quarterback like Geno Smith is doing, they should be fine. But I want both of them dudes off my team. Like, I just want to go in a different route. I want Jake Hannon to be back up to Jake Daniels.
You threw me off. Mom, you just threw me off. I was like, oh, okay. So he's like, you know, saying that, oh, I still got faith in Jameis and Carr. Then you like, nah, but I still
not under this coaching staff. Not under this coaching staff.
I feel you. It's the sad reality we live in. That's what I was telling fans when there was a portion of fans that was ready for Drew to leave because, oh, we ain't got the air yards anymore. I was like, man, you guys are really being spoiled by the other things that Drew Brees does that your Johnny on the spot quarterback can't do, right? And now we are in this quarterback purgatory where you just alluded to, okay, if we do have this quarterback, we need almost everything else to be perfect for him to be middle of the pack. Whereas with Drew, man, the house could be burning and Drew would still be in there calmly taking out furniture because he's that good of a quarterback. But we don't have that anymore. We don't have that luxury anymore. And it's annoying, but it's also what a lot of these other fan bases have to live with. There's only so many teams that have those upper echelon quarterbacks, which is why I was cherishing that 2017 to 2020 run because I was like, I know the end is near for Drew Brees, so I'm just happy that we are this competitive still at this age where he's at as a quarterback, and we're one of the top teams in the league. And it was just annoying the shit out of me. It's probably for the best that I didn't have a platform at that point to see fans saying, it's time for Drew to go. Now we want the air yards back. Well, you know what? We have the air yards right now. I mean, we're doing verticals every play. We have the air yards now. How is that working out, folks? How is that working out? Come on, man.
Man, you take these skilled players in quarterback and put them with Kyle Shanahan on the 49ers, it'll be a whole different story. That's all.
Come on, man.
That's all I'm going to say. But
I was to the fans, Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and he's arguably a Hall of Fame coach. They don't grow on trees, bro. Like, cherish it. You know, fans talk themselves into Sean Payton leaving being a good day. Oh, he was washed. He was over. No, he was still a good coach. We won 9 games, I think, right, in 2021 with 3 quarterbacks, one being Ian Buck. I'm like, cherish that. No, it's not a good thing that Sean Payton is retired. And I know fans are mad because they feel like he quit, so they're like, oh, we don't need Sean Payton back. The hell we do. I'd gladly take Sean Payton back. I would gladly take Sean Payton back. Fanaticism is a crazy day, man, because fanaticism has convinced, or it did convince, the Who Dat Nation that, oh, we're in a good spot now that Sean Payton and Drew Brees is gone with Derek Carr. With Derek Carr and Dennis Allen. The hell we are. The hell we are. But that's what I use my skits for. I like to have fun with that. I want fans to see how crazy and hypocritical and sometimes stupid they sound in me. Because I'm the same way. I'm not acting like I'm the smartest guy in the world, but that's what fanaticism does. It makes you ignore data. It makes you ignore success. And always look at the bright side, because even though the bright side is obviously not as bright as you want it to be. Like, we know what Dennis Allen was when he was coming from Oakland, and now rebuttal was, oh, yeah, well, that's Oakland. Nobody can win in Oakland. Well, I guess nobody can win in New Orleans either because he's doing the same shit in New Orleans that he was doing in Oakland. You got me started, Marley. I'm sorry.
And it's like people like Drew Brees is special for a reason. So you can't compare everything that Derek Carr is doing to Drew Brees. Like, how special would he be if you could compare Derek Carr to him that easily? And I will say this, you mentioned all 22. Man, that's a good thing and it's a bad thing that fans got a hold of that on Saints Twitter, because it's like we got the luxury of just starting a play and just pausing it.
Right.
It's just pausing it right in the middle of a play and say, oh, this guy's open. He should have hit him. But at the same time, that guy probably was the third read. And if a guy's not that quick with projection, when he's going through his progressions, then, you know, it is what it is. But at the same time, I still feel like Derek Carr is still underperforming. You know, I still feel like that he could get the ball out quicker, and I think he goes to the check down too early. Like, it's like he's just set on going to the check down. Yeah. And it's like, damn, if you combine Jameis' strengths with Derek Carr's strengths and then leave out both weaknesses, you'll have a perfect quarterback. Because one is good in the red zone, the other isn't. One like to chuck it downfield, one like to throw the check down. It's like, goddamn.
I'll tell you what. I try to be as fair as possible with the all 22 footage, because I don't know if you saw after the Bears game, because Michael Thomas had no catches. There was a play where Michael Thomas was open, but Carr went to Jono, and it was actually a productive play. But people were like, "Oh, look, Michael Thomas was open," like, you know, so they were ragging on Carr. And I'm looking at that play, and I'm like, "Okay, y'all, but this window of, you know, you could easily pause it. Yeah, he looks open right there, but that window closes like real quick." I'm only going to like utilize all 22 for like obvious blunders. Like, there are some plays on all 22 that, like with the Vikings last week, there was one play where, like, no, Olave and Shaheed, my dog, was open. They were open. Like, you could replay it, you could watch it in slow motion, you could watch it in fast motion, you could watch it in real time. They were open. It's like, come on, Derek Carr. But I absolutely understand what you're saying. Like, there are some times where I do see fans looking at the all 22, and they're pinpointing up, they're pausing at the right moment where, like, this guy is open. Not understanding that, okay, yeah, but right behind that guy is one of the fastest linebackers in the NFL, right? This is the NFL. Like, this is not college. This is not high school. Like, these windows close quick, and these are the best alleys in the world. Like, we can't just go by still shots and whatnot. So I like to take pride, at least, that I think that whenever I do utilize the all 22, like, I'm doing like the obvious ones that are, you know, bad plays, and not like, oh, this guy on this screenshot right here, look, he was open for 1.5 seconds. Okay, but that doesn't mean he, you know, it would have been a good play. Like, that cornerback, you might not see him in the frame shot, but was leaking up to him. That could have been a pick if he actually threw that pass. So it's a give and take when you utilize all 22 footage and when you give it to the fans to have fun with.
Coming into the season, Chris Olave was getting a lot of hype in camp. They were saying he looks like that true number one wide receiver and might gonna have to take a back seat. How do you feel like his relationship is with Carr now? Do you think it could be repaired, or it's just done?
I think they're professionals, that they're going to go out and, you know, give it their all, and they're going to work to try to get better as a unit. But I think that they are just not going to ever be a proper duo, because it seems like Olave thrives more with quarterbacks who aren't hesitant, and Derek Carr is a hesitant quarterback. At least he is this year, and I don't see him getting any better with his hesitation the rest of the year. So I don't think it's going to be like ugly. Like, I don't think they hate each other or anything like that, but I do think they're not going to be the duo that they had hoped to be. And I often wonder, because Michael Thomas was the main one champion for Derek Carr in the offseason. Sometimes I wonder, does Michael Thomas regret that because of how pedestrian that Carr has played? It's
Thank
like,
you, Jesus.
So I think I don't think as
That's
a unit,
crazy.
like, it is what it is. Like, they're not going to be a top unit, but I do think that they are professional enough that we will get productivity out of them, just not the productivity that we as fans had high hopes for.
I love Mike. He's one of my favorite players. I love him. But when he put "Thank you, Jesus" after that call sign, and while Jameis Winston's still on the team, and then Jameis Winston signed back again, I said, oh, man, Jameis
is a very good dude. Like, you know, I'm sure he's seen stuff like that, but the fact that he still came back and was like, okay, you know, it is what it is. You know, I think you got and I tell myself this as a content creator, you got to have thick skin. Like, whenever you are in tough I'm not trying to compare with what I'm doing to football players, but like when you're in a tough business, like you got to have thick skin, knowing that not everybody's going to like you, knowing that not everybody's going to want to collaborate with you or anything like that. So shout out to Jameis for like, always taking all that stuff on the chin and still coming in and shit. Michael look better sometimes with Jameis than he does with Carr, if we're being honest.
Exactly, man. Cars, his slants to Mike be behind Mike and all this and all that.
I think it was that Packers game when they finally let Jameis start throwing. That's the reason we kind of lost that Packers game. Like when Jameis came in, we got conservative, run. Then when we finally had to throw it because the Packers came back, man, Jameis was feeding Mike that ball. I'm like, Mike, you might have made the wrong choice of who you was champion.
Yeah, and it's like, man, Mike would have never came back if Derek would have never came here. And it's like, dog, when Carr took that hit, he got blown up, concussed, and he like messed up his shoulder even more. He's fine, but a lot of the fan base, I seen it on Twitter, somebody posted, a lot of people didn't care. Like, it's crazy. Like, that says a lot. Like, that says a lot when your starting quarterback get blown up and nobody cares. Nobody kind of bats an eye. Everybody just want to see what the second string is going to do. And when Jameis start throwing those touchdowns, ooh, boy.
I saw, and it's sad, like, this is how evil, I guess, fanaticism can take people. Like, after on Monday, the injury updates came out, and we're obviously going to be now without Lattimore and Michael for probably a month. And then they say the car is okay, and everybody's like, "Damn, the wrong one is the one that was okay." We would rather Lattimore and Thomas be the one too. But I mean, it is what it is. I would say this as a fan. Again, I was at Minnesota, so I had a lot more fun in that second half with Jameis than I did with Carr. Like, if we're gonna be a bad team, man, be a fun bad team, right? Like, put me on the Jameis coaster. Like, dude, if we're gonna be a bad team, I don't want to be a bad and boring team going 3 and out and getting sacked because Carr's holding the ball. Just put Jameis in there, and I know it comes with it, right? Like, you're gonna get a lot of stupid interceptions, but you're gonna get plays like where Jameis is throwing the ball halfway across the field to A.T. Perry. You're gonna get that 1-2 step back, and he said, "Go ahead, Olave, make a play." That's the type of entertainment that at least I want to watch if my team is gonna be bad. So I'm kind of thinking I'm on Team Jameis right now, to be honest.
I always say, man, Matt Stafford, he led the league when they won the Super Bowl for that Rams team. Picks, they do matter. Picks matter, but to me, it really matters. Are you throwing it in a clutch situation? Are you throwing it in the red zone that wiped away our chance of getting points, period, for like a field goal? Like that would really matter to me. Are you throwing a pick six? But as long as you can make it up by getting touchdowns, as long as you can make it up by, for sure you got a high percent chance of scoring in this red zone, as long as you can make it up by, when these guys go deep, you can launch that thing up out there and they ain't got to slow down. They're going to catch it in stride. Man, I don't know. I don't think Pete Carmichael could control Jameis. I think a lot of stuff Jameis do is probably off script, and I don't think he can control him like Peyton. Like Sean Payton can't control him, but that's neither here nor there. Like, I just can't wait till both of these dudes are gone. I wish them success, but I just want Jaden Daniels as the starter, and I want Jake Hanna to be the backup. Like, that's what I want. Like,
from your lips to God's ears.
And it really pisses me off when you see these players. Well, I guess they have to do it, but they get a political correct answer when they say, "Oh no, it's the players we have to execute." It's not the coaching. We believe in the coaches and all this. And man, look here, we see what's going on. Like, we don't play us for no fool, man. We see what's going on. Like,
and you know what? That's a damn good point, because that's kind of what my brand is building towards, Marley. Like, I have this platform now, so I'm happy to be a voice for the fans. I'm not a media member. I'm not trying to get credentials. I don't have to be politically correct. I'm not trying to rub elbows with Gail or Mickey or anything like that. So I'm going to call it how I see it. And sometimes I might sound stupid. Like, fans are going to be fans. Dennis Allen has forgot more about football than I will ever know. But I'm a fan, and I'm happy to wear that badge. Y'all taking my money. Yeah, my passion and my money is what makes y'all the product that y'all are, as far as the lifestyle that y'all get to live, which y'all deserve that lifestyle. Absolutely. I'm not trying to say that they don't deserve it. What I'm saying is, if y'all going to take this passion and this money and this energy from me, y'all going to hear from me. And if I'm the guy who is going to be the voice for the fans, then absolutely I'm going to be a voice for the fans and let it all out. Whereas maybe some of these media members can't say what they want to say, or say it as bluntly, I don't know if bluntly is a word, but as blunt as they want to say, I can and I will. And if it
see it all the
makes
time.
people mad in the front office, if my stuff ever gets to them, oh well, I'm willing to fall on that sword, man. I was a ball boy for the Pelicans for 13 years, man. So I've been in NBA locker, so I know how it operates. I know the scripted answers and what their coach to say and how politically correct they gotta be. And so I used to be very about the Pelicans because I'm an employee. I'm not gonna go off on them like when they frustrate the hell out. I'm still a fan, but I'm technically an employee. I'm not gonna go on Twitter and be like, how the hell you lose to this team? Now I can because I'm a fanatic and I wear that with pride. And it's always out of love, right? Like I saw an interview Tracy Porter did last week with my dog Devin Snow, Hold the Mayo. And he was like, yeah, we see and we hear when the fans criticize us, but we know that it's out of love because we're a family and you want your family to tell you when you're messing up. You want your family to tell you when you need to do better. That's how I view it. Like, hey, yes, I'm going to come at you, Mickey Loomis, right now. I'm coming at you, Gail. I'm coming at the Saints players. I'm coming at the Pelicans players. But that's because I love y'all. I want y'all to do better. So do better. And if I become this avatar of the angry Saints fan, then so be it, because I want the best for not only our fan base, but, man, when the teams are doing good, the city of New Orleans is doing good. The state of Louisiana is doing good. So I'll be more than happy to be, the crazy fanatic if it has to be that way, because things need to change, and I want the best for my sports teams and my city and my state. This shit more than a game.
Exactly. Yeah, man, you mentioned Mickey Loomis, man. I feel like a lot of people are at Mickey Loomis' head, but Mickey Loomis, at the end of the day, he still constructed a good roster. The only gripe I have with Mickey Loomis is his trades, like what he get back in compensation. I'm still mad that we gave Denver a third-round pick of ours. Like, I think that was a solid to Sean Payton, and that just goes to show you, like, this buddy system they have going on with the staff. It's like, man, all our trades that we make when we trade a high-profile player, we just get the short. I wouldn't even answer the phone for Howie no more if I'm
Philadelphia.
Like, he has to be blocked at this point.
Picked us over. Excuse the language in that last offseason.
Hey, man, this is no cap, no filter, man. You can say what you want.
They picked us over like a Bourbon Street hooker.
Yeah.
But when they took us on Dowman Street in New Orleans. Dowman Street on New Orleans and bought us behind one of them damn recycle bins and treated us like one of them chef mentor hookers. No cap, no filter, huh? Shit.
Yeah, that's all in cheese.
I'll say that, and you made a good point, man. This is something it's becoming annoying. I like it, but it's becoming annoying because this is all they stress. Family, we're a family organization, the family vibes. That shit ain't winning games though right now for the Pelicans and the Saints. Yeah. Shit, I know that they were saying, inside sources. Oh man, it was kind of a relief when Peyton retired because he was an asshole. He was an asshole that won. I don't need no damn family vibes. Family vibes ain't winning games. Family vibes definitely would have lost in Minnesota and Houston. So hell with the family vibes, man. We don't hang banners for, the vibes was good in 2022 and 2023. Hell with that. Give me a team of dogs. Let's win games, man. Give me a coaching staff of dogs.
Yeah, sometimes you got to be an asshole, bro, when winning is the most thing that matters. You're seeing it with Kobe. You're seeing it with Mike. You're seeing it with Bill Belichick. You're seeing it with Sean. Like, outside the Jameis Winston situation last year, I just think Dennis Allen just try to please everybody and don't want to step on nobody's toes. I just think he's too much of a nice guy. Same thing with Pete Carmichael. We have no alpha males in the coaching staff. The only alpha male who probably challenged Dennis' voice are both out of here, and that's Ryan Nielsen and Chris Rashad. But I digress on that. But at the same time, when it comes to Mickey, and he gave Dennis Allen his quarterback, we paid $150 million. A lot of people make a big deal about the $150 million, but that is, the average for what these quarterbacks are getting paid right now. But at the same time, you could have had Jameis for a fraction of the cost, and I understand that. Now, I'm not gonna say, "Oh yeah, I told you so" with Derek Carr, because I really feel like under Pete Carmichael, Derek Carr, neither Winston can be successful. But at the same time, under Carr, I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead on and give him a chance. I think we should still roll with Jameis. I don't understand why we going with Derek Carr. They had Michael Thomas lobbying for him. Drew Brees was lobbying for him and all that. I was like, I don't just see why we can't run it back with Jameis, especially with this good defense that we got. But we paid Derek Carr to $150, and it's just going in the flames right now. And a lot of people are coming out the woodwork saying, I told you so. I'm not going to be one of them people. I wanted Pete Carmichael to have the guy he wanted to be the no excuses. You know, if you can't win with this, there's no excuses. I wanted Dennis Allen to have a QB he wanted at the helm for his team. If you can't win with this, no excuses. So we see what it is. And to me, it's no excuses. Now, granted, I do think he's playing through injury, but I don't think he's hurt significantly to the point where he can't produce to win. You know, but I do think he should have sat them first 2 games. But I do think Mickey should be on the hot seat too. But I'm not sure if Gail gonna put him there.
Because it's a family vibe. So I don't think Mickey's ever going to be on the hot seat, unfortunately. I'll be honest. Even if we make the playoffs, and I'm going to cheer for us to make the playoffs. I'm a fan, bro. I'm never going to turn down a playoff season, especially at the expense of the Falcons or the Bucks. Hell with that. But making the playoffs should not assure job security. And I saw Nick put out an article. Maybe it was straight from Gail Vincent's mouth because, you know, Nick got his sources. Oh, well, it's almost like it's an ultimatum now at the bye week. They're saying if you don't make the playoffs, you guys are all out. Hell, even if they make the playoffs, if the product doesn't get better, that shouldn't assure job security. Like, okay, if we, by magic, and it's going to be magic at this point, like, because there's enough data to see what this team is. If we start playing better en route to making the playoffs, absolutely. God bless you, Dennis Allen. You get a 3rd year, knock yourself out. But if we kind of like stumble and bumble our way the rest of the season like we've been doing so far to a playoff spot, and it's only because the Falcons and the Bucks stumbled more that we did make the playoffs at 8 or 9 wins, that shouldn't assure no damn job security. Like, again, I would like to think Mickey Loomis is smarter than us when watching football games. Is he seeing the same product we're seeing? Like, just because we're getting lucky that our division has been trashed 2 years in a row should not assure job security if we are the world's tallest midget in the NFC South this year. So I'm really hoping that if we do make the playoffs, it is not at the expense of, oh, we're going to keep everybody, assuming that we are going to make the playoffs, still playing this mediocre brand of football that we're playing. Now, if we turn it around, if the light switch goes off after the bye week and suddenly we're playing good football, I'll shut up. Y'all keep y'all jobs. We're running back again another year. But if it's like us stumbling and bumbling and we barely make it to 8 or 9 wins, but it's enough this year for us to be the top dog, that shouldn't assure a goddamn thing. That shouldn't assure a goddamn thing. And I'm going to be at my wit's end if Mickey Loomis and Gail come on and say, well, we made the playoffs, y'all, and we got the great vibes, and oh, what a strong foundation and family we have at both organizations. Man, hell with that. Hell with that. That's how franchises flunk. That's how franchises flunk. You're playing a short game. Okay, yeah, you made the playoffs in 2023 because everybody else was bad. But you're looking like shit in 2026 and 2027 because it forced the Bucks and the Falcons to make the tough choices. And now they're ascending, and we're stuck in this crap of mediocrity.
Yeah.
But I'm cheering for us to make the playoffs. I'm cheering for us to make the playoffs because I want to make the playoffs. But it shouldn't assure a goddamn thing. It should not.
Well, you speak on family. Maybe we should have kept that one Benson lady, man. A lot of people feel like she would be making changes.
That's how you know things are bad. I've been seeing fans debate about Gail this weekend about Rita, and I'm like, oh, you know, things are bad when people say Rita was going to make things. That's when you know things are bad. That's on you, Dennis Allen. That's on you.
All right. Well, you say you are a fan that wants to make the playoffs. They have a lot of fans that don't want to make the playoffs. I remember you put the post on the Saints Twitter. You put the poll up. I feel like this. Everybody fandom different.
Yep.
At the end of the day, we both want success.
Yep.
Some people just want success, you know, going through the storm and then coming out to the sunshine. And then some people want success, you know, man, let's just try to go for it right now. I want to win all these games. I don't care. You know, you're not a real fan if you root against a team. I don't believe that. I'm not buying that. I think you could be a real fan and you're not a fickle fan. You're not a fair weather fan if you root against your team. You just want to lose to come out on the sunshine on the other side of the storm. That's all you want. Like you can't tell me some Bears fans don't want to lose so they could just not have that number 1 and number 3 pick. Like they want to lose. Like at the end of the day, we want the same common goal. Now I understand some of the fans like, man, as long as you get in the playoffs, you have a chance. Anything can happen. Crazy things happen. We seen it with the Giants. We seen it with this team. We seen it with that team. But it's a reason why it's so many few teams that happened to. You know, like I wanted to win But I ain't gonna lie, Jono. I think I want to lose. I think they pulled me to that side while I want Dennis to lose, because what's gonna happen? We're gonna go to the playoffs. We're gonna get bounced out. We're gonna get a decent pick. We might skip over a quarterback because we're gonna feel like, oh well, we got the veteran in the division. We got the leg up while other teams are getting Michael Penix and the Falcons are getting Jaden Daniels.
Oh, please don't say that.
Oh, we got Derek Carr. This is second year. This is second year with Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen brought in a new, young, vibrant offensive coordinator, and maybe that could work. But at the end of the day, if Dennis Allen get brought back, his leadership of men, I don't feel like can sustain with this team. I think he's a good defensive coordinator, but I think he's not a leader of men. He's not a head coach, and there's nothing wrong with that. You mentioned that he's a good roster builder. I think maybe he's missing on his calling. Maybe his calling is being in the front office with Jeff Allen. This dude could put together a good roster, and I'm willing to take another head coach and sacrifice us maybe taking a step back on defense to have competence at head coach and competence of a guy who knows what he's doing running this team. And who knows? If we get another defensive coordinator up in here, which we will if we fire him because nobody takes demotions, who knows? Maybe that defensive coordinator knows how to stop a mobile quarterback. Who knows? Maybe that defensive coordinator knows how to draft guys that are good on the defensive line. So maybe we and then if you get a competent defensive coordinator, it's still a lot of talent. Like, we got the best secondary in the league, and nobody can tell me otherwise. We just need to fix the front seven, and we need to get younger at linebacker.
Let the church say amen. Damn.
Yeah.
I agree with everything. Everything. I agree with everything. And you made a good point. Every fan wants success. Some just want to take different routes to get to the same destination. I don't mind that. I always have a problem with fans who gatekeep, like calling somebody a fake fan because they don't want to win the NFC South. Well, there's enough data for if a fan is pessimistic and they just want to flame out, then I can't be mad at that right now. This is like 2019, and fans are saying, last year was our chance, and now we need to get rid of Drew Brees. And now I'm like, okay, you can call that a stupid-ass fan. Like, come on now. Like, we got a great roster. But there's enough data on Dennis Allen that everybody is more than welcome to feel how they feel about which route they want this team to go. So I see there's a bad habit of like the fans who want to win saying, these fake ass fans who are cheering for us to lose. They got enough data though. They got enough data to know what this team is. They want to get out of this bullshit that we're in. Good for them. But at the same time, I'm not mad at the optimistic fans or the fans like me who are like, when the game starts, man, that ball gets kicked off, I can't help it. I don't want to lose a game. Like, go get that ass, Dennis Allen. There's no wrong way to fandom. I hate people who gatekeep fan fanaticism. We have enough data on Dennis Allen that fans are more than welcome to feel however the hell they want to feel. They want to feel great after wins, and they want to go to the playoffs knowing that we might get our ass bust. More power to you. If they want to feel like shit because they feel like, oh, man, we're just going to be stuck in the same old mediocrity bullshit for another year, more power to you. We have enough data. Feel how you want to feel. Of course, the optimistic fan is going to be like, well, look what happened to the Giants, because that's what fans do. We also get the best case scenario instead of looking at, look at the Bucs last year, literally who just got their ass whooped by the Cowboys when they won a sad ass division. But we're going to look at you're going to see if we make the playoffs, you're going to see all over the timeline 2011 Giants, 2007 Giants, of course, because we're going to look at the best case scenario. But either way, that's what fanaticism is about, and there should be no gatekeeping with how you want to fan, because we all, like you say, Marty, we all want the same thing, and that's success. We all just might have different route guides to how we get to the destination that we want to get to.
And then you mentioned the Bucs. A lot of people are bringing up, you don't want to start too high early, because you could reach your peak early. Look at the Bucs when they won the Super Bowl. They changed up some things after the bye week, and then they just never look back after that. But it's a difference between Tom Brady and Derek Carr. Like, how special would Tom Brady be if you could just say he could emulate what? How special would Tom Brady be if you could just say Derek Carr could emulate what Tom did? And at the same time, Derek Carr wouldn't get the calls that Tom Brady would get. Like, a lot of the calls that Brady get, you just seen what happened with Derek Carr when he got injured. It was no flag on that play. Tom Brady would get that easily, and it would be much more less brutal than that. But I digress. But when it comes to the playoffs, I feel like we don't have the ingredients to win a playoff game. First of all, we don't have the coaching staff. We can't beat legit good teams. we haven't beat a good team this whole time. Dennis Allen been a head coach, and I don't want to hear the Eagles game because they didn't have Hurts. Granted, we didn't have our starting quarterback, but come on now, they didn't have Hurts. I don't want to hear about the Seahawks game. We can't beat good teams in all phases. I would want to say. I don't want to hear about the Seahawks game. They put up over 30 points on us in the dome, and I don't want to hear about the Bucs game. We only scored like what 9 points when Dennis Allen came in for that one game. We only scored 9 points, so we can't beat a good team legitimately in all three phases. So, and then on top of that, we have no pass rush. We have a shaky O-line. We don't have a quarterback that could, like some quarterbacks, they so good that with all these things that just having little issues here and little issues there, they could overcome that stuff. And we don't have that. We don't have the good offensive coordinator that could put these guys in the best position to succeed. Like we don't have none of that going for us, and we don't have a run game. Like we cannot run the ball. Like Alvin Kamara, like the data I just seen, like it's crazy, and it's because of the O-line and the offensive line head coach. So that's another reason why I say, I kind of don't want to make the playoffs. But I will say this: if we make the playoffs and we could knock off a team like the Cowboys,
it would all be worth it.
I still want you fired, but he could have a statue in New Orleans. I don't give a damn. He could have a statue.
I'll tell you, if we actually make the playoffs and we win the playoff game, then everybody deserves to stay. Like I'll be like, okay, like you won a playoff game.
I feel you. If he win a Super Bowl, he can stay. If he don't, anything less of a Super Bowl ring, I don't care if we get to the NFC Championship, because I just know it'll be a fluke reason we got there. I know that somebody knocked off the 49ers, somebody knocked off the Eagles. When we play a certain team, the way our injury luck been going, we're not going to play against the starting quarterback. It's just going to be something fluky like that, and I don't want that. Just go ahead on and do away with Dennis Allen. I don't care. It's ring or bust to me. That's just my opinion.
You have every right to feel that way.
What is your Saints MVP 10 weeks in?
Lattimore.
Lattimore?
It's between Lattimore and Granderson. I think Lattimore was the best cornerback this year in the whole league. I truly do believe he was the best cornerback in the whole league. The reason why Debo's having a great year is because Lattimore's shutting down his side of the field that they had to test Debo, and the Debo's answered that amazingly. I hope that he can keep it up now. He's going to be our #1 cornerback. Granderson has been great. The only guy actually getting pressure on our damn D-line, but just because Marshawn doesn't have like the flashy stats of interceptions and stuff, that's because he's literally shutting down his side of the field most of the time. That quarterbacks aren't even throwing his way. It's got to be Lattimore, in my opinion. With Carl Granderson a very, very close second.
I'll probably give it to Taysom, just because Taysom just.
I love me some Taysom. Now, don't get it twisted. I love me some Taysom. Future Saints Hall of Famer, guaranteed, no debate. Future Saints Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of people was making fun of that contract he got, but it seemed like it's paying dividends. But and somebody put up a post about a Taysom replacement. Do you think Taysom is replaceable?
No, it's like it was one of those days, and I'm not trying to put Taysom in the same category, but you don't find Drew Brees on trees. You don't find Sean Payton on trees. It's like when you get unicorns, just cherish that you got a unicorn. I'm sure a lot of teams have been trying to find Taysom Hill for their team for the past 3 or 4 years. So, no, it would be great if we can find somebody who can play that role, but Taysom is a special guy, and I'm going to cherish him for the next, sadly, I think he's, 33? So, like, we got to recognize that he probably only has, like, maybe a year or two left at his peak form. So, hopefully, we utilize him, right, and not just do this damn hot potato thing where 1 week he's our main offensive weapon, the next week we may play him out there for, like, 3 or 4 plays, but no, it's not like we could just go out there and be like, okay, Taysom, you've had a good run. Here's our next Taysom. No, Taysom, what he's doing is incredible, and we should all cherish it. I don't know why the national media and opposing fans have a hard on for him. Maybe because he's wearing black and gold, but the things he's doing is incredible. And if he was doing that, like with a team like the Patriots or like the Jets or the Giants, like a big market, oh man, they would be talking about him as an NFL Hall of Famer. Never mind his team's Hall of Fame.
What do you feel like about our Penning situation? Like, we drafted this guy in the first round. He's benched now. What do you feel like about the Penning situation and the O-line in general?
I think it's an unfortunate circumstance because you are you're in this win now window, but then you draft a clear project player and you draft it, you trade it up to draft him technically. So, so now you don't have the patience for him to, be the project player that he is, right? Like maybe it's going to take him 3 or 4 years to finally reach his potential. But because you're in his win now window, you can't play him because you're trying to win now. So I think that Penny, I don't think that I'm not going to discard him as a bust, but it's just bad circumstance that, like, okay, Mickey, and Mickey's a good drafter. Him and I'm losing track of his name right now. Yeah. Island and Kai and that whole crew. But that one, like, okay, if we are in this win now window and you guys don't have the patience for a project player, then you should have never drafted him. Drafted another player who was more NFL ready. I think Penny can be a good player, but right now he's just in a bad circumstance where they don't have the patience right now to sit back through his growing pains because Dennis Allen is essentially trying to save his job. So it's like, okay, well then why did we take him?
Yeah, man. I think the Penning draft, man.
Hold on, I'm sorry. You know what I'm more mad though? I'm still more mad at the Davenport pick, which is more on Payne, I guess, because Lamar Jackson was right there. And this Payne Turner. I mean, come on, Payne, Sean Payne and Payne Turner. Like, dude, what Payne might have had one sack his whole career so far. Like, I appreciate that they've been trying to build through the line, with the whole line and the D line. I believe you have to build through the lines in the draft to build a solid team. But damn, did we miss out on? Have we hit some misses with Penning and with Payne Turner? And that's why we're in the situation we're in right now. Because if those two were actually good picks, we might be 6-4 right now. We might be 7-3 because they make that much of an impact on the line. But when you draft what is so far a bad player in Penning because of how raw he is, and when you draft, well, I'm just say it, a bust in Payne Turner, now you can't get the quarterback. Now you can't protect your quarterback, and that leads to a 5-5 record.
Well, I will say this about Penning. You got Penning on the bench. You got Olave at odds with Derek Carr. Thank God we got Alontae Taylor. Even though we
have some good picks now. I'm not acting like, we, of course, we're going to focus on the ones that don't hit, but we've been pretty – and I actually had this argument in the offseason with Saints fans. I was like, okay, y'all, I get that. Or maybe it was like in week 1 or 2. I get that we're mad at Penning and we're mad at these picks that didn't turn out like Turner and Davenport. But we drafted Kamara. We drafted Lattimore. We drafted Alontae. We drafted Adebo. Like, we are – I believe that they did a study and the Saints were like top 10 with the draft. So, like, we're not a bad drafting team at all. It's just that the ones you missed on are always going to be magnified more than the ones you hit on.
Yeah, that's why I say about Mickey Loomis. Like, I just think that when it comes to trading, I don't think he does the best compensation for us. And when it comes to, if he hold on to Dennis Allen after this year, I would think that he should be fired. But other than that, when it comes to building a roster, I think we do pretty good. Not the Davenport draft, I really feel like that draft really set us back because not only did we take up a player that was a project in the first round, we traded up to get him and traded our next year first round pick. So who knows what that could have been in, how productive they could have been helping to this team right now. And on top of that, just imagine if we'd have just drafted Lamar Jackson, like that was your calling to redeem yourself for running your mouth about damn Patrick Mahomes. That was the calling right now. And it's like, man, if those two examples are not clear as day to not take a quarterback in this draft right that's coming up, I don't know what other examples. Like, this is the best time. Like, everybody say, oh yeah, we need to draft a quarterback. We need to draft a quarterback. A lot of drafts that has happened in the past, the only draft I wanted to draft a quarterback was Lamar Jackson because he was right there for the taking. We didn't have to trade up or nothing. All we had to do was just stay patted. We would have got him probably, but we didn't get him. Now we missed out. He went to being a Pro Bowler. He went to just having his team winning, and now we here with Derek Carr. But we have a chance to redeem ourselves with Jaden Daniels or Penix or just somebody. Some people even want the Tulane quarterback. Like, we have a chance. It's a plethora of quarterbacks coming out, and we don't need to miss this opportunity and let the Bucks or the Falcons get their guy of the future. Like the Panthers, they already got Bryce Young. So it's like, I feel like the first team that's going to get their quarterback head coach marriage are going to win this division for years.
Yep, facts. And it's easier said than done, right? Like, again, you can't – great quarterbacks and coaches aren't found on trees, but it's literally whichever NFC South team finds their quarterback and coach first. Yep. Whichever one finds their quarterback and coach combo first, they are going to be in prime position to run this league for run the NFC South for damn near a decade. But honestly, you know, knowing how football works in parity, watch is going to be a perfect storm where like finally all 4 teams find like their quarterback and coach, and suddenly the NFC South is the best. Because I remember when the NFC West was trash, and then the past few years, not more recently, but like in that 2013 to 2018, when the NFC West was a bloodbath with the Rams and the Cardinals and the Seahawks and the 49ers all having like that's how NFL works though. Like there might be a day in the next 2 or 3 years where suddenly now the NFC South like, oh great, now all 4 teams are suddenly good again. So now, you know, when we finally find out guys, you know, great, the Panthers and the Falcons and the Bucks have also found their guys. I'll say this. If the Saints are good at one thing, they're good at public relations and making fans get excited. So don't stop now. Like if Jaden Daniels is there, trade up for him or do something. Like if you want to keep getting this money from these fan base and like accepting how bad this team has technically been the past few years, you draft Jaden Daniels and fans will forgive everything because we're fanatics and we'll be dancing up a storm that we got our LSU quarterback. So I do hope that, and I agree with you. If they believe that this guy is genuine, I don't want to just draft a quarterback to draft one and say we drafted one. But I'm looking at the tape. I don't have enough on Penix, but I'm looking at Jaden Daniels and I'm like, I see everything to take a shot on this guy. I mean, we take a shot on Davenport. We take a shot on Payne Turner. So you're telling me that Jaden Daniels is not worth taking a shot on in the first round? Come on now. It's a match made in heaven. And you get ticket sales. Like Louisiana's going to go crazy if they draft a quarterback. So draft them. Trade your 2025 pick and move up so that the Bucks and the Falcons don't get him. Go get him. Go get him. Yeah. Y'all like feeling this as PR bullshit? Do it with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. And I will say this about Peyton Turner. I will say he would definitely be helping with this pass rush rotation right now. Like the plan was to have him help out with this pass rush rotation. Well, not even rotation. He was, well, yeah, pass rush rotation because they wouldn't start him over Cam, but help him out with the pass rush rotation, have Foskey in there with the pass rush rotation, and it just ain't panning out due to injury. So that's the reason why I think
Davenport at least showed us flashes. Like we had some good stretches of play with Davenport. Davenport is just more of a bust because of circumstance. But again, Lamar Jackson was right there, so now he's always going to be, you know, hip to hip with the Lamar Jackson thing. Turner, I get it, yes. When he should play, but he's not even giving us like a 3-game stretch where it's like, oh, that's why we drafted this kid. Like I don't even remember one play, and it was last year against Carolina where he played real well. After that, this dude has been a ghost, bro, and he's never healthy. And I hope he comes back this year. It's like whenever he gets hurt, like we just never hear from him again. It's like, oh yeah, Payne Turner is on our team. Like, goddamn, dude, like when are you coming back? We've got no updates on him. Is he coming back in December?
Well, maybe we could get him, Jason Pierre-Paul, and Foskey into this rotation, and hopefully they could provide some type of spark. How do you feel about Nathan Shepard and Colin Sanders? Like, hot take here, but I kind of think that as far as interior play, Roach been playing better than Sanders.
The whole D-line, just in general, has been uninspiring. That I have no strong feelings, honestly. Either way, I have no. I mean, they are there, like they are there. Like I see them, okay, but nothing too negative or positive for me to have like a strong opinion about. Like their bodies right now that are doing decently. Like I have no strong opinions about that.
Well,
I think Roach has been fine. I like Roach. I agree with that, but like they haven't flashed for negative or positive reasons for me to have like a strong opinion. They've been the embodiment of a 5-5 team. They're a 5-5 D-line.
Well, yeah, that's another reason why I want Dennis Allen gone, because I feel like another head coach could really get this D-line right and this pass rush.
Well, let me push back on that, because the one thing I always give Dennis Allen is that he is great, in my opinion, with defenses. Our defense has struggled the past few weeks, but for whatever reason, in the second half, suddenly we go back to being the defense that we know, and we stonewalled Josh Dobbs in that second half. We stonewalled C.J. Stroud in that second half. Like we stonewalled these offenses in the second half. And I give him credit, man. That man can coach his ass of defense. And yes, our D-line is struggling, but like you say, best secondary in the league. Like Dennis Allen knows how to get the most out of his team, even if one particular unit is struggling. So I'll push back a little bit with you on that, Marty. I know the D-line has been bad, but the only thing I will miss if and when DA is eventually gone is that man does know how to coach a defense. But like you say though, like you gotta, if the trade-off is having a competent head coach who knows how to be a leader of men, then I'll take the trade-off of our defense descending a little bit whenever Dennis Allen is gone?
Well, I don't think it's going to descend a lot. I think it might descend a little bit, but at the same time, as long as we could get some good draft picks on this D line, like I think Brazil, he's going to turn out fine. But at the same time, I feel like we just need better. We need better structure for when it comes to having a scheme for mobile quarterbacks. You know, we just can't let that continue to happen. Like that was happening when the defense was pretty healthy, you know, a couple of years ago, like just his whole tenure. But I will say this. I mainly want Dennis Allen going, not just because he's a bad head coach, but it's because of the draft that's coming up with these quarterbacks. I want the head coach to pick his guy. I don't want Dennis Allen to pick somebody and maybe he's good, maybe he's not. But then the next head coach, he just, oh, well, this is probably not his guy. I want the next head coach to pick his guy and have the team in his vision. And if he get rid of some of the old guys, then so be it. But I want that quarterback head coach marriage that we had with Sean and Drew for this is sustainable. That's why I mainly want Dennis Allen fired. Like it's Super Bowl or bust for me.
One can only hope. One can only hope.
So we speaking on the defense. Do you think this defense is elite and the offense and the special teams just complements them poorly, or do you think this defense is just good? Period.
I think it's a D-line. Unfortunately, it's good with flashes of great. I think our offense is below average. I think our special teams is below average. And when you add that all up in one big old gumbo pot, you get a 500 team like we have.
Okay, last question before we get to the Pels, and I'll let you go. What's your perfect dream scenario this offseason? Assuming we don't, go to the Super Bowl or nothing like that.
My dream scenario, if I can kind of go to the season to get to the off season, is we still make the playoffs. Because I like making the playoffs, and I do not want to see the Falcons or Bucks because I know their fans would come at me if they make the playoffs. But of course, I'm being realistic. We're not going to win the Super Bowl, so we made the playoffs. But Mickey Loomis is like, okay, but this is not sustainable. So we still clean house, and we finally look ahead and stop trying to recreate the Sean Payton era. We draft Jaden Daniels. I'm a fanatic. Hey, I had a LSU quarterback who is arguably the Heisman is available. Let's go get him, And being straight up, Marley, I'm sure you feel the same way. Having a black quarterback would be fun. Like, I want a black quarterback. Honestly, I would love a black head coach. So if we get Eric Bieniemy, that would be great too. Now, Ben Johnson is really impressing me in Detroit. Like, I watched the offense, and I'm like, God damn. It would be great to have an offensive mind like him again. I think he is probably a better offensive play caller than Eric Bieniemy, but you give me a black head coach and a black quarterback, I would love that. I'm just being real, dog. I would love to have that. We a black city, dog. We a black city. That would be great. But I don't have a strong choice on who I want for a head coach. I just want a different head coach. I'm going to trust Mickey Loomis to get it right this time. But I would love, if we were talking my dream, I've seen enough game film on Jaden Daniels that I would love to get him. And then, we'll probably have to struggle for a year or two while Jaden Daniels learns the game. But I would feel excited for the first time about our future and the next 10-plus years than I have in a long time. So I guess that's my dream right now, is that we make the playoffs, but we still fire everybody. We get a new coaching staff, and then we get Jaden Daniels because he looks like a freaking stud, man. And a shoe helmet or not, the dude looks like a stud. Like, he looks like the best quarterback in college. Now, I like I know Caleb is the hot chick right now that still is probably going to be the number 1 overall quarterback. I got to watch more about Penix because I keep hearing great things about him. I like Shedeur Sanders, but I don't know if he's coming out this year. I don't think Deion's going to let him come out. Yeah, so but Jaden would just be like a dream scenario, like the LSU quarterback coming to the Saints. Feels like it's a match made in heaven. So that would be my dream scenario, a new fresh quarterback. I'm not even saying get rid of Derek Carr. Like, Carr can start next year, fine. Like, if we got to do the Lamar Jackson route and let Jaden Daniels learn the same way Patrick and Lamar had to sit a year before they came in. I don't mind sending Jaden Daniels in 2024, but we know that we have a guy ready to take the reins when his time has come, and we feel like he's ready to go out there with a nice head coaching staff. I trust Mickey on whoever he would hire if we do fire Dennis Allen, and we finally just have, like, it'll just feel fresh. Like, in will it be successful? I don't know. It's always 50-50 whenever you get a new regime, but we know we won't be in the Dennis Allen era anymore. And when I say era, it's ERROR. So that's my dream scenario.
Well, you want a black head coach, black quarterback, you might well have a black GM. You just promote.
Hey, Mickey can retire gracefully or move up to some crazy ass title they can make up and let Kai be the guy. Hey, I'm with that.
And it's crazy you mentioned Eric B. Enemy. Like, we had that guy in the building for 8 hours, and we had Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl winning head coach, on Zoom. Like,
this is not an interview. This is how to interview. This is how to interview Doug Peterson.
Yeah, so do you like beignets and gumbo? Come on, man. We should have just had this guy up in here. I really feel like if Doug Peterson was this team head coach right now, we would be much better than we are. Much better than we are. But, you know, I want to have a head coach who knows what he's doing to come up here, pick his guy. And like you say, that quarterback don't even have to start right away. He could start 1 year after Carr, because Carr, I think we could get out of his deal that 3rd year. So let Carr come, start that second year, have that quarterback, get him in the 1st round, so we have him on a 5-year contract, and he in his 2nd year he gets the keys to the team. And like you say, man, Patrick Mahomes, he was behind Alex Smith, and I just want to go to Titans route. You know, they had Ryan Tannehill. They swung and they tried with Willis. They swung and they tried with Will Levis. And Will Levis is looking like he's panning out. And now that division just looked like one of the worst divisions. And now they all got quarterbacks. They have CG. They have Anthony Richardson. They have Will Levis. And they have T. Law. So it's looking like that division going to be dominant, compete with each other for like the next 10, 15 years. And I think this is the draft that the NFC South just flips and, you know, it turn it on his head, and it's emulating that same thing. And it's going to have to happen with this draft, getting a quarterback in that 1st round, and it's going to have to happen with the next coach picking his guy.
You better not be caught lacking, Mickey. That's all I can say. You better not be caught lacking.
All right, yeah. So what's your prediction of the last question for the Saints? What's your prediction of the game coming out the bye against Atlanta?
I'm never gonna pick the Falcons to win, even though I don't feel good about it. I'm gonna say the Falcons lose to the Saints. It's not gonna be. I don't think we're gonna magically turn on a switch this bye week, but I do think we'll win like 24-21. It'll be one of those classic, ugly but exciting and 13-edge of your seat Saints Falcons games that gives us hope that, hey, okay, maybe, you know, we are the dominant team in the NFC South, but then, you know, then we're going to play the Lions and we're going to get our ass whooped, and again we're just going to keep going around and around and around. But I do have us being the Falcons. Knock on wood. That's me being biased too. That's me. If I was an unbiased fan, I might say, oh yeah, the Falcons are a better team, but I'm gonna go with the Saints.
I think we lose to the Falcons 27 to like maybe 24, 21-ish, maybe 20. I think we lose to them. I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a breakout game if we can't stop the tight end. I think either Ritter or what's the other guy named Taylor Heineke? I think either one of them could run for at least 60 yards on this defense. So, and then Ryan Nelson, he knows Pete Carmichael, so he's gonna.
That's a good point.
Like, can Pete Carmichael adjust to Nelson? I don't think so. I think Nelson is going to be right in Pete Carmichael back pocket this whole game, and we're going to see it in the Lions game. That is going to be interesting. If I'm Mickey Loomis, I will be very closely paying attention to Dennis Allen defense versus Ben Johnson offense. I will say this: we stand up for competition like that. We stand up for competition like that, especially if we come off a loss to the Falcons. We're going to stand up for competition to the Lions. And Jared Goff, he can move a little bit, but I wouldn't just classify him as a mobile quarterback. So that plays right into our matchups. And on top of that, you got Jamal Williams. Maybe he have some life for revenge coming into that game because he felt like he was done dirty by the Lions. But you know, we stand up for those type of games. We play up to level. But maybe Marshawn Lattimore, his injury, maybe it's just too much for us to handle. But I could see us still losing. But I know for sure Gibbs and Laporta is going to have a monster game on us again.
It's going to be an interesting 2 weeks after this bye week. That's all we can say. That's what we know for sure. It's going to be a very interesting 2 weeks.
All right. As toxic as Saints Twitter is, Pelicans Twitter is starting to be just as toxic. Before we won this game, winning cures all. Before we won this game.
Took one game. Took one game. Took one game, and now everybody's back good.
Yeah, before we win this game, every day you see trade ideas with Brandon Ingram or Zion, going into the trade machine and people taking screenshots and posting it. But now you don't really see that. Winning cares all. And the head coach James stepped in and he's looking like Phil Jackson. Everybody talking about Willie Green, man. Willie Green, he need to go to the developmental league for his head coaching. And it's just like, oh man, I knew this pettiness was going to come. I posted James with I posted his picture with the little glasses, clearing the glasses, and then they had Phil Jackson right next to it. But man, when it comes to the Pelicans, man, what are your overall thoughts on the team? What are your thoughts on Brandon Ingram and Zion Williams relationships, man? What do you got, man, after this Willie Green flu game?
I treat the Pelicans with delicacy because, again, I was a ball boy for them for 13 years. So I have some personal relationships with them. I was still the ball boy for Zion and BI, so I got nothing but love for them. Now, if I can, take off those rose-colored glasses, they've been very uninspiring to open up this season. It's a long season. And we saw last year, we peaked real early. And then, of course, Zion went hurt and everything went off the rails again. But it's been pretty uninspiring, the opening stretch of this season. That game on Tuesday was probably the most exciting that the team has looked all year. And, as a fan, like you say, winning cares all. So you look at that game and now you're like, okay, God, did we discover something with this game? And hopefully going forward, because I think it's a crime to have Zion Williamson on your team. And I know that he hasn't lived up to the hype that everybody thought he would be coming out of Duke, but just to have such a boring team when you got Zion Williamson on your team, like that just makes no sense to me. If you would have showed Pelicans fans the results of the past 3 seasons after we drafted Zion, we all would have been like, what the hell? Like, what are we doing? Like, how did we just draft this phenomenal kid and we're still a mediocre team, all things considered? I've seen a lot already of, not a lot because they always are hurt, but like whenever I see Zion and BI as a duo, and I know that the team is trying to hype up this best duo in the league, which I feel like it's more of a detriment to BI and Zion. And I get what they're trying to do with that. Like they're trying to make them push forward to be the best duo. But I feel like all it leads to is just jokes and animosity and just, silliness. I'm not going to let one game on Tuesday blind me to the fact that there's more uninspiration watching Zion and BI as a duo right now than there is excitement. Now, I'm hoping they turn it around. I want them to work out. I really want them to work out. But we have such good depth, man. Like Trajan and DG. I mean, we got Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Jose Alvarado, Jordan Hawkins now. Like these guys can draft. We got a solid roster. But it starts with the top 2. And finally, the top 2 are healthy. Of course, everybody else is getting hurt now that the top 2 are actually healthy. And it's like, okay, is it a thing where we have to, like, are these 2 ever going to get in sync enough that we can build a team around these 2 while elevating this amazing depth that we have? Or does one of them have to go to build the team that we really need? Like, does a tough decision need to be made? I don't get paid enough to make that decision. Of course, I'm a fanatic. I'm always going to hope for the best case scenario. Like, eventually Zion and BI turn it around. They know, they pick up on how to play together, and we look like a great team come January or February. Everybody finally gets healthy. We've been saying that for decades now, but everybody finally gets healthy, and we go on a run. But I'm not mad at fans who think that this product is also unsustainable and that one of them, hell, I've seen some people say that both of them need to go. I don't know about that. I just think Zion's peak is too high to give up on, even though he's been frustrating his first few years here. But when he's on, man, we've seen how good he is. Like he's, in my opinion, MVP caliber when he's on. But the problem is we got to get this guy to be on every single night. And that's what separates, like you say, the craziness of the Kobe's and the Michaels and the LeBrons. Like they know they had the physical talent, but they know that to be at the level of greatness, like you got to be crazy. You got to be an asshole. You got to be a dog. And Zion is still kind of too young where I feel like he wants it like that. But maybe he gets there. We're New Orleans. We're not going to have great free agents coming knocking on our door saying we want to play with you. So we got to ride out like when we have phenomenal talents like Anthony Davis or Chris Paul or Zion until they say they want to leave themselves. You got to ride it out, as frustrating as they can possibly be sometimes, and as frustrating as Zion can be, because I think Chris Paul was amazing his whole stretch here. So I would be okay, honestly. And personally, I don't want to trade him because I love him, BI, but I would also not lose sleep if we traded him if they feel like, okay, we just got to instead of even trying to nab a superstar in return for BI, we're just going to get like a player or two who we feel can play off Zion, and we're going to play off Zion. Like, Zion, this is your team, have at it, and you, Zion, we're entrusting to make Trey Murphy better, to make Jordan Hawkins better, to make Jose Alvarado better, to make Herb Jones better. But it's a tough choice. I'm not envious of what DG and Trajan are faced with. But no matter what happens this year, we are going to have enough to say if we should keep going forward with BI and Zion going forward, or if we need to say, nope, it's not working, something has to give.
Yeah, a lot of people on Saints Twitter and Pels Twitter always scream to the top of their lungs about this medical staff, and the medical staff is I think they take care of both teams. I think that Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis found some voodoo lady in the French Quarter or some voodoo lady in the swamp and just made a deal and said, yeah, we will sacrifice the Pelicans still being injured for us to have a nice, relatively healthy season for the Saints. And they just put it all on it. And I think that when it comes to this team, like, they always injured. Like you say, like, I think I seen a stat about how many times Zion and Brandon Ingram played together, and it's very low. Out of 4 years, it is very low. And I wonder how many times all three of them played together since CJ McCollum had got there. Mm-hmm. And it's like, damn, it just only make you wonder how good would this team if we was to stay healthy, because we was number one in the West last year. We were number one. So, and like you said, we have a lot of depth, but even with the depth, what do you think this team is missing? And also, do you think it's more of the team lacking certain depth, or you think it's Willie Green?
No, I think Willie's fine. I think we put too much emphasis on coaches in the NBA, to be honest. You got to have a good coach, but it's the most player-focused league of all the big four of the sports leagues. So I'm fine with Willie. I'm very fine with Willie. I think fans, they always want to fire the head coach whenever things aren't going well, but I think Willie's been more than fine. I think we can. I think if we, it's hard. I'm biased. I'm sorry. I worked for them for 13 years, Molly. I'm biased.
I mean, I think what we're missing on this team is a floor general at point guard.
Like, well, I just don't want to sound mean, but I want more from Zion and BI. Like, I want y'all to be dogs. It feels like they are the type. I hope they don't get mad. Like, they're okay with just like they. There's a difference between putting in the work and wanting to be good, but putting in the work and wanting to be great. Like, I've seen Kobe and LeBron up close, like the things that they do, the investments and the time that they put in to wanting to be great. I don't know if I see that in BI and Zion, not consistently at least. I need to, if they can just do it consistently, and it's not easy, but that's why you guys are superstars. That's why you guys are getting paid the big bucks, because it's not easy. So we're relying on you to put in the work. If they can just do it consistently and put in the effort that is required to be top dogs in a very, very tough league, I think the sky is the limit. I just don't know if those two are up for it. And I hate to say that. And I want them to be up for it, but I just don't know.
Well, I feel like sometimes when it comes to having that fire and desire and that passion to win, you got to be really of a certain mindset. And you can't just have these God-gifted abilities and say, oh, well, I'm good at this. Let me go try to play this and get on a team and all of a sudden get drafted and all of a sudden now you're in the NBA. I think it's a fine line between both of those things. And do I think that Zion and BI have that quote-unquote dog in them and that quote-unquote killer mentality? I don't think so. I really feel like they don't. And it's certain players that really – it's very few players that really actually have that. But at the same time, you know, I feel like, man, I think if we was to get like a floor general to bring that out of them, it would be all better. I think we're missing another athletic big as well. And I think that, you know, I just hope they don't trade them, because I can see this duo still working if we was to just stay healthy. So, man, if we do keep them, you know, I can see much success as long as we stay healthy. But I think some players, though, they just have God-gifted abilities, but they don't have that drive to be just special, to be a Hall of Famer, to be just the best and just have that dog and I'm going to beat you mentality. i.e. Marcus Davenport. But I digress.
I'll say that, and you know, again, I say it's uninspiring, but I've not panicked once this year. Like, it's a long season, and now that the play-in tournament has been implemented, like, I feel like we're going to be a top 10 team. So I feel like we're going to have a shot at the playoffs. I'm just more disappointed, just like how, besides Tuesday, how unfun this season has been so far. But it's a long season, and hey, if we're doing the opposite this year, where we start off slow but we finish hot instead of like last year when we started off hot and we finished slow, I'll take it. But I'm with all the points you made were very valid, my dog. I think Zion and BI have shown flashes of having a dog in them, but that's the fine line between, again, how great do you want to be? Because it takes a lot of effort, a lot of work, and a lot of energy to want to be great every single night. And not every player has it. There's a lot of players that like winning, but there's few players who hate losing. I want players who hate losing. Chris Paul hated losing. That's why he's arguably the best Pelican Hornet of all time. I don't know if Zion and BI hate losing. I think they like winning. Who doesn't like winning? Well, do you hate losing? And if you hate losing, then you got to put in the work, man. You can say, "Oh, I stay after the gym for an hour." Okay, stay 2 hours. You got to put in work, man. You got to invest in your body. You got to do so many things to be great, and that's why I got so much respect for the Kobe's, the MJs, and LeBron. Dude, LeBron could have been a Hall of Famer with not doing a damn thing with how physically gifted he was. But this guy is a machine and invested in his body and putting in the work, because he was like, okay, for me to be great and not just very good, I got to put in work. I think Zion has that potential, besides ignoring his health issues. I hope his health issues eventually come together, but he hasn't put in the work yet. And he's young, so he's plenty of time to do it. And we got to be patient, because, again, elite prospects aren't knocking on New Orleans door saying, "I want to play in New Orleans." But, man, you got to want it. You got to want it. And you make valid points where you say you don't see them wanting it consistently. And I would have to agree with you. I'm hoping that, as a fanatic, they eventually do want it consistently, and the sky can be the limit as we add talent, maybe hopefully a facilitator, like you say, to run the offense. But until they show it, you can only go by what you see.
Well, maybe sometimes it takes some type of motivation, and you can have females motivate you when they come to the game, and you see the success with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Maybe they need to bring in Mariah Mills. Have Mariah Mills come to the Pelicans games and
no cap, no filter.
Just pan the camera to Mariah Mills. And
I thought I was the jokester on this interview. What are we doing? I thought I was the jokester.
The NBA just put that money into marketing Mariah Mills like the NFL does with Taylor Swift.
Bring Alexis Texas to the game. I saw she crossed the dark side a few weeks ago. I'm sure that might be
yeah, man. But
that might be a sign we need to wrap up, Mark. We going off the rail.
But go ahead on and let the people know where they can follow you at, Jono. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. Give all the platforms they can look for you on, and this was a fun chat with you, man.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Marty, man. You're doing some good work, man. Just like I said about Zion, man, just keep doing it consistently, man, and you are going to build something pretty dope with this. It was a pleasure talking to you, man. You're knowledgeable, you're smart. You deserve your flowers as well for what you are creating. I see the vision, man, and I'm always going to be in support of you. You always got my love, man. I appreciate the love you've shown me on social the past few years, honestly. So if y'all want to be like Marley and also show me love on social media, on every platform, Twitter or X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, I think Threads still exists. I'm on there too, even though I don't post on it. At Jono Barnes on every platform. JonoBarnes.com and thisshitmorethanagame.com if you want one of these badass t-shirts. If you're watching a video of this, if you're not watching the video, just know it's a badass This Shit More Than a Game shirt, and you can have it for the low price of $28.03 on JonoBarnes.com and thisshitmorethanagame.com. I appreciate the love of the Who Dat Nation. I appreciate the love of everybody who's shown me support in my ascension as a content creator this past 3 years, and I hope you guys know how grateful it is to me, to my lovely wife, to all of my family, and I hope you guys always remember, if you don't take away anything from this, that this shit more than a game.
All right, thanks, Jono, bro. I don't even know if we could still call it Saints Twitter because it's X now. Maybe Saints X. I don't know. Or just have it traditional Saints Twitter. But thanks for the support, man. Thanks for coming on the platform. This was fun. Y'all subscribe to him. Y'all follow him. And, man, I'm going to give you your flowers. Thanks for all the content you put. And we be looking forward to the next video. We be looking forward to the tweets. And keep doing what you're doing, bro. In the words of Dennis Allen. All right, Jono.
We good?